right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive.
Today we're going to be talking about something that I think is near and dear to a lot of our listeners' hearts,
Okay.
and that is the future of cars.
Right.
Not just like electric versus gas, but really like how can we build cars in a way that's better for the planet?
So we've got this excerpt from a text that kind of paints a really interesting picture of what that future could look like.
Yeah.
And I think by the end of this, you're going to have a really clear idea of what a sustainable, resource-conscious car could actually be.
I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
So one of the things that this text points out is that,
Cars are kind of at this crossroads right now, right? Like,
right?
we've gotten really good at making them safe and durable,
Absolutely.
but it seems like every new model is just,
A slightly fancier version of the last one.
yeah, and that's something that the source really hits on, is
Yeah.
that we've kind of reached a point where cars are so safe and so well built.
That the improvements are getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
For the amount of money and resources that are being put into them.
Yeah, you notice that? Like,
When you see a new model of a car come out,
yeah,
it doesn't feel that different from one that came out like 5 years ago.
it's true. Yeah, they're adding all these bells and whistles and new tech features, but
The fundamental design and the way it drives
okay,
often feels very similar.
it's true. And the source actually talks about this as being like a decreasing appeal.
Especially for younger generations, right?
Yeah.
It's like my phone gets a software update every couple months, but my car is basically...
The same as it was when I bought it 5 years ago.
Exactly. And it's almost like cars are struggling to keep up with the speed of technology.
In a way,
Yeah.
Everything else is evolving so rapidly
Right.
that a car that's 5 years old can feel almost ancient in comparison.
Yeah. So this is where sustainability, I think...
Becomes a really crucial part of the conversation, right?
Absolutely.
Because we can't just keep churning out slightly different versions of the same car.
And using up all these resources if they're not really getting that much better.
And the source really emphasizes that the industry needs to rethink things entirely.
From the ground up, moving away from
Yeah.
just focusing on fuel efficiency.
To a much broader idea of resource responsibility.
So how do we do that, though? Like, how do we actually...
Make cars more sustainable.
Yeah.
Because the
It
text...
doesn't just complain about the problem. It actually lays out some pretty radical solutions. And one that really jumped out at me is this idea of reducing...
car body models to just 5 basic types.
Yeah. It's a bold idea.
It's wild, right?
Look, just 5.
5 basic car bodies. Imagine that.
Like a world where car design is more about
Yeah.
sleek minimalism and less about having a million.
Different trims and model names that nobody can keep track of.
Right. And imagine the efficiency you would gain in manufacturing.
If you were only producing 5 basic models,
Yeah.
but doing them on a massive scale.
It could really simplify things
Yeah.
and, reduce waste.
And I also wonder if it kind of challenges.
That idea of the car as like a status symbol, right?
Totally.
Like maybe we need to be thinking less about flashy individuality.
And more about kind of a shared sustainability.
Yeah, maybe it's more about how well your car functions.
Yeah. And how little impact it has on the planet
Right?
than about having the latest and greatest model.
But wouldn't that mean less choice for consumers?
Like, not everybody wants to drive one of just 5 cars, right?
That's a valid point, and the source does acknowledge that there's a trade-off there.
But here's where it gets really interesting. They propose a system of modular design.
Modular design, what does that mean?
So think of it like building blocks for cars.
You would have a core set of components,
Okay?
the body, the drivetrain, the electrical system, the interior and exterior.
And all of these would be designed to be easily assembled, disassembled, and reconfigured.
So instead of having a million different models...
You have 5 base models that can then be customized in like
Exactly.
a zillion different ways.
That's the idea.
That's actually really cool.
It's like imagine swapping out your car's interior
Yeah.
as easily as you change your phone case.
Exactly. And that's the kind of flexibility and personalization that modular design could offer.
And think about repairs and upgrades, too.
Yeah.
Instead of scrapping the entire car if something breaks,
You could just replace a faulty module.
that would make things so much simpler.
It would be more efficient, less wasteful.
And you could even potentially update your car's features and style over time.
Oh, so you wouldn't get tired of it as quickly.
Exactly. It could stay feeling fresh and relevant for much longer.
That makes a lot of sense. And the source also talks about standardizing certain components.
Especially for things like climate control.
Right.
So less waste, again, easier maintenance, and maybe even...
higher level of quality overall.
Exactly, because you can focus on perfecting those core components.
And this all ties into this bigger idea of a circular economy for the car industry.
Okay, I've heard that term before, but what does it actually mean?
So instead of cars ending up in landfills,
After they're no longer usable,
right?
they would be designed from the beginning to be disassembled and reused.
So parts would be recycled, remanufactured, even put back into the production cycle.
So it's like a closed loop.
Exactly, minimizing waste,
Mhm.
maximizing resource efficiency,
So we're talking about cars built to last 20 years, easily recyclable.
customizable and easy to maintain.
That's the vision.
I like that vision.
A lot.
It's a pretty compelling one, right?
It is.
And it makes you think, you know,
If you knew your car was built with this kind of sustainable ethos,
yeah.
how would it change your relationship with that vehicle?
Oh, that's a good question.
Would it feel more like a valued tool?
You know, a partner in reducing your environmental impact.
I think it would feel less disposable.
You know,
Absolutely.
like I'd probably take better care of it.
If I knew that it was designed to last that long,
It's like you're part of something bigger than just getting from point A to point B.
you're part of a movement towards a more sustainable future.
Yeah, and I think that's really exciting.
Like the idea that the future of cars could be about...
More than just transportation, you know?
Right.
It could be about making responsible choices, embracing innovation.
And driving towards a greener future, literally and figuratively.
I love that.
Well,
On that note,
thanks for joining us for another deep dive.
it's been a pleasure.
And we'll see you next time.
See you later.